Okay. I'm back with Colette and talking about the seasons uh, as wisdom, as wisdom teachers, as wisdom elders, um, as old, ancient patterns
Mm.
that we can apprentice ourselves to. So that's a relationship like student to teacher, which that's a
Mm.
good relationship to have with seasons. But as we finished the last conversation, it got even more intimate, not just student and teacher, like we're learning from the seasons, but it's like we are that same intelligence that that heats the earth and brings spring and cools the earth and brings autumn and winter,
Mhm.
or depending on the hemispheres, all that.
Mhm.
That same intelligence, that same spiraling rhythm that we see outwardly does not stop when it hits my skin and bounce back off. No, it's part of how we are um, created, how we are imagined is that
Yeah.
spiraling seasonal reality is it's the same out there is within us. And so this we closed last time with like this unity, like uh, we are the spring and the spring is us and I am the summer and
Yeah.
the summer is me, and it's
Mm.
something really close.
Love that.
Yeah.
Mm.
So the question I have, and I'm gonna give a running start to it, is just because I go to a funeral does not mean that I grieve. Just because I'm there does not mean that I've grieved. Just because I've shown up at the school or the university does not necessarily mean that I've learned. It's possible for me to just kind of go through the motions. And I think it can be the same way with living. Just because I'm my way around the sun, 40 times doesn't mean I've been seasoned
Mm.
mindfully, like really have walked with the seasons. And so it's this idea of our participation with
Mm.
the rhythm. Like it just doesn't happen without our consent, without our
Mhm.
collaboration to be seasoned people. A
Mhm.
little play on the words.
Mhm.
So, Colette, in your experience, or if someone's wondering, how do I live a
Mm.
bit more in line with the natural rhythms, or how do you, or how have you?
Mm.
What would you say?
Mhm. Well, I think one of the things is to use the word rhythm to even get in touch with that notion,
Mhm.
because I think generally we like all are kind of taught to live in with one tempo, just one speed, just speed, speed, speed. So
Mhm.
not even a sense of rhythm. So even
Yes.
inviting ourselves to even become conscious of that. Like there's a rhythm. Look what some of the animals are doing now that it's winter. Look what the tree is doing. Wow, look at the tree. It's lost its leaf. What's the tree doing? So
Mhm.
even just this notion of rhythm and letting, I love that. I love your word apprentice, because we really are students of life. We're a young life form and we, so we, to say, yes, show us, teach us, and let yourself just pay attention, even to small things. Like I said, to the cycles of a tree
Mhm.
can just teach us so much. And like you said, being conscious of rhythm, being is, and just allowing yourself to participate more in the rhythm. of a season.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's darker this season, pause with that. What does it mean to have more darkness, more hours of darkness? What is the invitation for that? Is it to be quieter? Is it to read? Is it to ask yourself what can you might see in the dark? There's a lot. I mean, for me too, I invite people to let yourself read about the seasons because sometimes we don't know. We just haven't been taught. And so sometimes just reading, for example, as I said in this book, he has a whole chapter in the back about the seasons and even describes each season a little bit more and its invitation. So we can be observers of the natural world and we can read about it. I think that can be really helpful for us to just start to awaken ourselves to this notion.
Mm-hmm.
And what are ways that you live in relationship to those cycles? You were telling me something beautiful in the beginning. Perhaps you want to share it a little bit
Yeah,
about being an apprentice, and you've been doing that.
that's right. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. So, Colette, with you saying a participant,
Hmm.
it's like I'm here, I'm yeah, participant. I'm a part of this. So I might as well get to participating with the mood
Yeah.
of this. And
Mm.
yeah, so how do I participate? I'll use your word with the
Mm.
seasons. One thing I did this past December was I went ahead and did a mini sabbatical, purposefully at that time, right,
Mm.
as approaching winter, purposefully put that there and slowed. More reading, more
Mm.
sleeping. I'm here in South Carolina, so not too far from the Great Smoky Mountains, the Black Bears. So, you know,
Mm.
uh, grabbing a page out of their playbook of hibernation.
Mm.
Um, Summer, uh, one of the things I'll do in summer, down here, it's hot southeast. The waters can sometimes be a little cooler, but I'll let that sometimes be a reminder of my wildness, or as Dr. Bill Plotkin says, the wild indigenous one. It's the mammalness of me that revels in play, and so the days are longer. Um, and so yeah, splashing in the water. I had my nephews and my niece over this past summer, and we went on a walk around an old baseball field after it had rained. And one of my nephews, who's 4, he said, "Can I jump in the water puddle?" And I said, "Yeah, go for it." And then we came to another water puddle, and he said, "Can I jump in that?" I said, "Of course." And then we got around to the baseball diamond at the park, and it was just flood. It was just nasty. Oh, it was so nasty after this summer rain. And I said, "Do you want to go? Do you want to go slide in that?" And he did. And I just sat back. I sat back watching, appreciating. But the theme of summer, which for me is really getting back to my body, the play, the aliveness. I shifted from watching him, and then I took off my shirt and I ran, and I just started sliding in the mud. And then the other kids, and we were just so nasty and mud covered on a, July evening. That was it. Is just like that's the flavor of that time. It's longer days. Of course, yeah, go get muddy and dirty and all of this. So yeah. Oh, well, thank you, Colette.
Mm.
Yeah, thank you.
Hmm. It really reminds me as you're saying this is it reminds us to remember all the variety we have within ourselves. Like you said, there's a time for play and there's a time for solitude and quiet.
Mhm.
There's a time for shouting and loud voices and music and dancing. And then there's just a time for maybe
Mhm.
silence.
Mhm.
So I think this, as you were talking, the seasons really remind you of more of yourself
Yeah.
and all the aspects of yourself, and to allow that fullness.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
That is that
really
fullness.
appreciate hearing that.
Yeah. That is there in simplicity.
Yes,
Doesn't,
yes. I
doesn't,
it,
yeah.
it
Doesn't
doesn't require.
require a lot of money spent or me to
No,
pull too much from
no.
the earth or land. There is enough variety in the simplicity.
I really
Yeah.
appreciate that. Like you with your nephew, there's the muddy field, and I'm just gonna slide in it. That's just seeing what's right there in front of you
Mhm.
and being present to it and hearing the invitation and just saying yes to it.
Mm,
And
mhm,
it's really wonderful to remember
mm.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Whew. Yeah.
Hmm.
So thank you everyone for watching, whatever season you're watching this
Yeah.
in. May you listen in to what the season of your life is saying, what the season of the land is saying, and be
Hmm.
well.
Hmm.